on our hands. During the war, serving in the Army Air Corps, he flew the famous P-40 Warhawk and the P-47 Thunderbolt. So, Tom Cruise, you've got nothing on this Top Gun. So I'd like to now welcome Bob, and he's going to tell you all about his service. When I first met Bob, what stuck in my head was he said the Japanese heard he had got his pilot's license and he was ready to be a fighter pilot, and they surrendered. And when he married his beautiful wife, he had 12 children. And he said, I realized at that moment, I was more of a lover than I was a fighter. So, Bob.
Sit down? Is that what I'm going to do? Yep. Oh, over there. Yep. All right. Here I am. Let me take my hat off so I can see what. Oh, God. There's a hell of a bunch of you out there. Well, thank you for inviting us down. And I've got to thank Barbara for inviting us. And, of course, my deepest appreciation go to my daughter and granddaughter, Eileen and Robin, for taking care of me all the time and bringing me down here to join you folks tonight. And I want to thank each and every one of you who has put on the uniform. Some of you got dirty deals. Some of the reputations that spread from some of the wars that we're in that were unpopular. It's too bad. It's a dirty, rotten shame, because any man and any woman that puts on the uniform, raises their hand, and swears to fight for this country deserves my appreciation and the appreciation of all of us Americans. Right? Well, here I sit, and I want to tell you a little bit about the old days. Barbara said, why don't you tell them a little bit about the Depression? I'm 101 years old now, shooting for 102. As a matter of fact, my goal is to try to hit 120. They tell me that will be a record. Well, what the hell, you might as well shoot for something, right? Right. So that's what I'm doing. So maybe if you invite me back, when I hit 120, I'd like to talk to you again, all right? Is that a deal?
It's a deal.
Okay, thank you. Well, I was born in 1924, okay? Up in Boston, Massachusetts. You probably can tell from my accent that I got some kind of a queer accent. That comes from being in South Boston. South Boston was filled with Irish and one Armenian. My father was an Armenian, and here we are in the midst of all those Irish people. Well, they accepted me, my brother and me. There were two of us. And we had a very interesting life. Just to give you an idea, times got pretty tough back then, Back in the 30s, it was very, very tough. But things didn't cost so much. My brother had to come out of high school to help feed the family because my father had taken incurably ill, and he died eventually from it, that illness. My mother went to work too. So, guess the big pay they got. My mother worked 5 days a week. She had to pay 20-cent car fare to get in and out of where she was working at. And if they needed her on a Saturday, she had to go in and got no pay for it. And the thing that really made her mad, they didn't even give her a 20-cent car fare. And for doing all this, $15 a week. Try getting along on that. My brother got $15 a week too, but he worked 6 days a week. So he had to pay $1.20 car fare, gave my mother $10 out of it, and with the rest of the money, used to clothe himself, took care of him, and because I would shine his shoes for him and make the bed, he gave me a quarter a week. So he's my two-bit hero, my brother was. And my father was 7 years older than me. So things were going along. We were making it, just barely, hanging on, of course. And then something happened. All these years, my mother, who was very careful, was paying into an insurance policy. Well, this was the kind of insurance policy that paid off a huge amount of money. $1,000. Whoa! Can you imagine all that? $1,000 was a lot of money back then. I bet you some of the people sitting here have almost that much money in your pockets right now. Well, we decided that maybe we would buy a little farm and it might help my father's health. Well, we did. We bought a farm down south of Boston, about 30 miles. And it was a small farm. It was a nice house, a nice little Cape Cod home, and 5 acres of land. It cost the enormous sum of $1,500. How would you like to get a place today, fellas and girls, for $1,500, huh? You can't even pay the taxes for a place for that now. Well, we went there, and there we were, and things started to turn nasty over in Europe. And I was a prolific reader. I was a kid who loved to read. And I just kept watching things and saw what happened. And we all know what happened, of course. In 1938, the Germans decided to invade and started the Second World War. Okay. Well, things went from bad to worse, as we all know. All right. And everyone lost their territory and so forth. The Germans kept taking over. Finally, the only ones left were the English. And the ones that were really doing a great job helping the English to fight those bombers that were coming over and indiscriminately bombing people as well as factories and places that were really of military significance. That was bad. But they became my heroes, the guys that were fighting them, the fighter pilots. And from the age, a very early age, for just barely 15 years old, I decided, oh boy, I want to be a fighter pilot. I want to get in there and do something. I'll tell you a little later about something about that. All right. Anyway, the war went on, and we had some leadership that recognized we were in trouble. And we started to build up. I don't know how many of you, some of the old timers with me at this table here, remember, we became the arsenal of democracy. And what we started to do was to help those that were still left able to fight over there, mostly the English, okay? And we started building our own forces up. I checked on it once upon a time. I think I may be right. I think the Army Air Corps had 7,000 people in it in 1938. Can you imagine that? Oh, boy. So we built up, and we built up. And, of course, the war came to us. Boy, my brother, being 7 years older than me, him And the whole group that he belonged to up there in Southie went down and enlisted the next day. My brother enlisted in the Navy and served as an aviation radio man gunner on an SBD, Douglas Dauntless, okay, and served throughout the war. So I really admired my brother, and I wanted to become a fighter pilot. Well, I was too young. Well, finally, school was over. And I went down and I said, here I am, I'm ready to enlist. They said, we got this thing called conscription, and we take you as we need you in an orderly manner. Well, what am I going to do? Well, my father's health by then had been restored to some extent by this work on the farm. Him and I went down, we got a job at a shipyard working at the Hingham Shipyard building LCIs, Landing Craft Infantry. I hope I got that right, Navy guys. And the Landing Craft Infantry. Oh, yeah, and the destroyer escorts. Okay? So we were working there, and then finally, we had a terrible winter that winter. This was in 42. Had a terrible winter. My father got pneumonia and died. Well, they're ready to bring me in the service finally. So I go in, and the doctor that was examining us and so forth was our family doctor. He said, well, you're the sole support of your mother now, because my brother was in the service, and you're working at a vital job helping to build ships. He said, we'll give you a deferment. I said, oh, no, please don't do that. I want to be a fighter pilot. So the doctor said, okay, I'll apply, let you go ahead. Sure enough, they said, yes, you can go in the service. Well, we went up to Boston. It wasn't enough that they had to check out the local people. They had to check us out in Boston. Well, we went through this whole damn maze. Bollocky bare ass, by the way, which I was a little embarrassed. You know how it is, guys. You're not used to it. Anyway, they stamped me as good for any branch of the service. Come out the end of the job, at the end, they had someone there from the Navy, someone from the Marines, and someone from the Army, all trying to get their quotas filled. Well, I talked to the guy in the Marines. I said, geez, they a great outfit, isn't it? Yeah, and they would have a wonderful uniform, beautiful uniform. Oh, we don't have that anymore during the war. We don't wear them anymore. Oh, I talked to the guy in the Navy. I said, I want to be a fighter pilot. Oh, wow. To be a pilot, you have to enroll in the V5 program or some name like that. And you have to do that before you come here. I said, oh, geez. So I go over and talk to the Army guy. You want to be a fighter pilot? You just sign up with us. That lying SOB. Gee. He said, you just sign up with us. And when you get up to Fort Devens, you let them know what you want to be. They'll take care of you. Well, I got to Fort Devens, and they're throwing these clothes and these shoes and this thing and that thing happening. Getting down, I keep saying to everyone, I want to be a fighter pilot. Well, it gave the guys a little laugh anyway. Then finally someone said to me, look, young man, to become a fighter pilot, first of all, you have to score above 110 in the IQ that you're going to be taking. Then you have to take another exam that very few pass to become a aviation cadet. And then you have to, after that, pass a physical, which very, very few pass. Oh. So I hung in there. I said, I want to be a fighter pilot. Well, I scored above 110. And then, come to find out, my physical was pretty good. So they allowed me to take the exam. Well, I went in a room and they had about half as many people as we have. I'd say probably about 30 or 40 of us were in there. We all took that test. Well, when the test was over, we handed the paper in, walked outside and smoked. Everyone smoked in those days. Am I right, gang? All of us smoked, to start with anyway. So we're out there and we're smoking and the guys are talking, saying, geez, boy, that was a tough question. How about this question? How about that question? How about this question? Looking at the guys. Well, I had a real good aptitude for math, and I was a prolific reader. I didn't think those questions are that tough. Well, by the time all of us get out and get in, they called us back in. Now, there'd been a bunch of corporals and sergeants inside giving us the exam, making sure we didn't peek at someone else's paper and stuff. Now there's an officer sitting up front. Oh, gee. Whoa. So we go. The officer said, everyone take the seats you had before. So we all sat in the seat we were in before. Guess what? He opened his mouth, and guess what the first words were? Robert Garabedian, front and center. That's me. What the hell did I do? I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. So I go up front and I stand there at attention, or as near attention as I knew what to do in those days. Mind you, I'm only 18 now. And the officer said, when did you take this exam before? I said, oh, I never took it before. When did you see this exam before? I never saw the exam before, sir. I didn't know it until I just came here and took it. All right, dismissed. Well, I went outside, and then gradually some others joined me. About half of the people that had taken the test joined me. The other half, out they went. They didn't pass. Well, we're out there, probably the 20 of us that are left. I went up to one of the corporals and I said, can you tell me why that officer thought I took that exam before? I'm going to brag a little now, pardon me. He said, you just got the highest mark that anyone has ever gotten in that exam. Whoa! He said, wow! Yeah, thank you very much. I had a natural aptitude for math, and like I said, I was a prolific reader. So what the hell? All they had was common sense stuff in there, you know? So anyway, now they said, you got to take your physical. Oh, geez. As if we hadn't been running around bare ass enough already. So they shipped those of us who would pass up to New Hampshire, and they gave us the flying 64 physical. They looked at places I didn't know I had. Bend over. So most of us passed it because I would already passed. And I'm thinking, now I'm going to go in to be a fighter pilot. He said, no. Now you got to take basic training. Because if you don't finish the pilot training, we've got to be able to push you right into combat or whatever it is that you're going to be in. So you're going to have to learn to march. You're going to have to learn to shoot rifles. You're going to have to learn to shoot a submachine gun. And you're going to have to, as I found out later on, a 45 pistol. Oh, my God. There's another about 2 months, I think it was. They said to anyone here ever been to Jefferson Barracks, St. Louis, Missouri? Anyone? You did. Wasn't that food lousy?
I didn't eat it.
It was the worst damn. I don't know how the hell I didn't starve to death. That was lousy food, going from good home cooking to there. Well, we made it through. I'm ready. I want to be a fighter pilot. Oh, no. You're all 18 and 19 years old. You need more education. I don't want to get educated. I want to fly a plane. Sent us to College Training Detachment, Butler University, Indianapolis, Indiana. Anyone know where it is? Yeah, okay, all right. Nice place, nice school, small school, but they treated us good. Thank God they had civilians running the cooking. They were mothers. Oh, and they mothered us. Oh, it was so good to have good home cooking. Well, we were there, and in 3 months, they threw the first full year of college education at us. It's either get up to snuff or get the hell out. And at the same time, believe it or not, I got to fly in a plane for the first time, a Piper Cub. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. Fighter Cub, a Piper Cub. They gave us 10 hours of duel. Well, the idea was to see if the guys really, really wanted to take to flying. Well, would you believe it? Some of them didn't really want to fly. Once they got their ass off the ground, they didn't like that. They wanted to be back on the ground again. They dropped out. Then after that, classification center, more tests, more exams, more physicals. Finally, after a couple of weeks of this, they finally said, okay, you can be a pilot, a bombardier, or a navigator. Well, if I had any damn sense, I'd have probably picked navigator because, like I say, math just comes easy to me. And the training wasn't that long. In 2 months, I'd have been graduated and been an officer getting all that kind of money. Whoa. Now I wanted to be a fighter pilot. Still trying to tell them I want to be a fighter pilot. So they said, okay. Then we went to pre-flight school. And that's where you learn Morse code, aircraft identification, and a couple of dozen other things. We did that in about 9 weeks. After 9 weeks, guess what? I finally went to an air base, Ballinger, Texas. Oh, that was it. A twin-person plane, open cockpit. Can you imagine that? Oh, what a thrill. I can't begin to tell you how thrilled I was. I was still only 18 years old. Or was I 19? Maybe I was 19 by then. Anyway, we started training, and after 8, 9, or 10 hours of dual flying, the instructor climbed out of the cockpit. And he didn't tell me to get out. He told me to stay there. He said, you can do it. Go ahead and fly the plane. I was scared stiff. No, brave big guy here. No. I was scared stiff, but I was determined to be a fighter pilot. So I took that damn plane and I took it off and I flew it around and I did a few turns and I did a Shandell and I did this and that and the other thing. Stayed up for about a half hour. Finally, I said, okay, I got to land this damn thing. It's not going to land by itself. So in I come and I landed it. And from that day on, I didn't wear my goggles around my neck anymore. I could put my goggles on top of my head. I had been a solo pilot. I had flown a plane. And I was proud of myself that I had done it, but I was scared shift while I was doing it. Let me tell you. Anyway, training went on. From there, we went from that primary flying to what was called basic flying, a BT-13, the Vibrator, 450 horsepower, which, let me tell you, felt like something when you're flying when you're just a kid and just flying it. And that's when we started to learn formation flying, instrument flying, and things of that nature there, and precision landings. You hit the spot that you're supposed to come in on. And again, some of the guys aren't making it. Some of them find they didn't like it. And some of them were washing out, as they were calling. And unfortunately, some of them were being killed. Then we went to advanced, AT-6, 650 horsepower. The Texan, it was called, two-place plane. That was a damn good plane. It's still a damn good plane, and some of them are still flying today. Would you believe it? Still flying today. Had twin 30 caliber machine guns in it, flying through the, shooting through the prop. And on those planes, we learned a lot of formation flying, and that's when finally we learned how to shoot the machine guns in the air. Well, if you want to hit that, you better aim there if it's going that way. You better shoot out there so that by the time your bullet gets there, the plane gets there. It's a simple principle. But damn few guys seem to be able to do it. I don't know why. It made sense to me. Somewhere in here there's a medal that says I'm an expert at that. Okay? And I got it. Okay. Well, we're near graduation. And here we are in the Gulf of Mexico, and the planes come down from our field in Texas to pick us up to bring us back. Well, on the way down, my closest buddy, Jimmy Flaherty, had flown with me. I flew the plane, and then Jimmy flew it back. And then I said, Jimmy, on the way back after I finish my gunnery training, pick me up and we'll fly back together. Well, I'm running up and down as these planes are coming in. Now, mind you, there is probably, I'm just going to give a rough guess, about 150 planes. So there were a lot of us there. Well, I'm running up and down, and did you see Jimmy? Did you see Jimmy? Did anyone see Jimmy Flaherty? Finally, one of the guys said, oh, I think he's one of the last ones coming down. Oh, I said, oh, geez. Do you have any space in there? You're picking up anyone? No, he said, I haven't promised anyone. So I said, let me go with you. I'm getting tired of running around. So I threw my B-4 bag in there. We flew back to the base, ran across the street to the barracks, took a shower because hot weather down in Texas, you know. And we're all sweated up and everything. Took a shower, changed my uniform, went across the street. I'm pretty proud of myself. I had got some of the best shooting marks of anyone down there at Matagorda Island. I'm sitting there eating food with a bunch of other guys. Some other guys come in, say, hey, did you hear it? 4 of the guys just bought it. What happened? Jimmy, and 3 other guys. 2 planes smashed together, went up in flames, and down they went. So I lost my best friend. So they asked me if I'd take his body home to his family. Now, mind you, a lot of training had gone in by now. We'd lost a lot of guys, but that was my closest friend. So I volunteered to take Jimmy's body home and missed my own graduation. So after a year and a half of intensive training, I finally got my wings and I got my commission as a 2nd lieutenant, and all the others were gone because I was 3 days late getting back. So anyway, I kept telling them I wanted to be a fighter pilot. So finally, they said, okay, Garabedian, you're assigned to a group going out to fly P-47s. I said, oh, damn it. I wanted to fly the P-51. Any of you that know some of the planes, P-51's a pretty sleek looking thing. The P-47, well, you'll see the picture in the back of my jacket there. Would you hold it up? It's a big stubby plane, and its nickname was the Jug. Okay, that's what it was called. But let me tell you, I went up and I asked to see the commander of the base and said, sir, I really wanted to fly a P-51. He said, well, we don't make you fly a plane you don't want to. No one flies a plane they don't want to. You're always a volunteer. But he said, we don't know when a draft is coming in for the next group to be trained for that. And the next draft may want 47 pilots. So, oh, geez. I guess I better go now. So that's how I ended up being a P-47 pilot. But you know, I didn't get my P-47 right away. They said, well, there's a little delay. We don't have an opening, but we've got P-40s you can fly. Oh, man, you should see them. They were wrecks. They were all shot. They were, yeah, they were all bullet hole ridden and everything else. And they had Jap flags painted. We're getting all the stuff that they were bringing back. So they said, that's what you're going to train in. So that's what we trained in, the P-40s. And then finally, I got to the P-47. Well, then I really, I fell in love with the plane. Believe it or not, she may not be the best looking thing in the world, but boy, is she a good plane. It had a nice Pratt Whitney engine in it. It had a good Hamilton standard prop, and it had 8 machine guns, 8 50 caliber machine guns, and we could carry 2 500-pound bombs in it. I'm ready to go. Ready. The Germans gave up. Well, I don't know why the hell they gave up, but you know, P-47s had a good hand in that in the 9th Air Force, you know, doing a good job helping Patton fight his way through. But we're going to go to the Pacific. We're going to go over there. Word leaked out that Garabedian was coming. They had Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and now they were sending something called the Garabedian. And those buggers gave up. That's my story of how I won the war almost single-handed. But I have to tip my hat to all those Marines, Navy, Army fellows who did a little bit of the job too. And thank you all for putting up with me and listening to me tonight. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, thank you. Please sit down. Thank you, dear.
If it's okay, we're going to have some Q&A now, if anyone has any questions for you. And I would be remiss if I didn't announce thank you to Eileen, his beautiful daughter, his baby girl. She was the first of 12 children, but the first girl. And my dear friend Robin here, who is 8 years Air Force. So we got another proud veteran.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to have a seat? And we're going to have them ask you some questions,
Oh,
Bob. Is that
okay. All right.
Does anyone have a question?
I had 12 kids, and if you want to know how to do that, talk to me. Yeah.
Bob, what did you do post-war?
Pardon?
What did you do after the war?
Oh, after the war, I really didn't. My brother come out of the service too, out of the Navy. He made it through, and he came out, and there we are at the farm. We didn't know what the hell to do with our lives. I was still very young by then. I wasn't even 21 yet. And I said, what the hell am I gonna do? Geez, at 20 years old, I wanted to do something. Well, my cousin, Charlie Murphy, had been in the Merchant Marine all during the war. In fact, it had 4 ships shot out up from underneath them during the war and made it through anyway. And I said, maybe that's it. I like to travel. And they didn't send me anywhere in the damn service. So I got to join the Merchant Marine. So I sailed for a while in the Merchant Marine. Well, it's a lot of fun. You meet some very interesting people, particularly females, at the different countries you visit. And but I decided I better start settling down. So then I went and started going to school, okay, and I went to BU and studied marketing and got into marketing and became associated with some different companies. And at one time for the company that I worked for, which was Western Auto. I don't know if any of you know that it's not around anymore, but it used to be a big outfit. There were 4,000 associate stores and 400 company stores at the time I worked for them. Well, I ended up in charge of the state of Maine, and I had 28 stores, and I'm doing a good job of it. Enjoyed it, and enjoyed living in Maine. A lot of good people up there. Okay. And then I got transferred down into Connecticut and left that company to go to another company, Hood Milk Company. I did that because some guy had promised me a raise, who was a district manager. He had charge of, maybe 8 or 10 states. And then he didn't live up to his promise. And you don't do that with me. You tell me something, you say you're going to do it, I expect you to do it. Because when I tell you something that I'm going to do, and I said I'd come here even though I was shaking a little bit when I got up, I do it. Okay? So I quit the bastards. And I went to another company, marketing again, and then finally got transferred down to Connecticut and started hearing about this computer stuff. Well, as I said, I had a real natural aptitude for math and stuff of that nature. So I talked to a friend that I developed who worked for IBM, and he took me in and tested me, and he said, well, you have an A aptitude to be a programmer. So he said there's openings at this company and that company, and I went to work for a company and became a programmer and then an analyst and optimizer, and then they gave me a unit to optimize the programs and so forth. And then finally I ended up with the Aetna Life and Casualty and ran a subsidiary for them for the last 10 years of my career and made some good money. And meantime, I got married. I met the most wonderful girl of my dreams. I was no kid by then. I was 26. We got married, and you know what you do when you get married? Well, I enjoyed that very much. I got to admit it. And I ended up with 12 kids. So we had a wonderful life together. I enjoyed traveling. I formed a travel club, which ended up with 4,000 members. And then one of my sons wanted to get in the business, so we opened a travel agency. And that's how I was able to travel in all those many, many countries and take all those wonderful voyages, because I was leading people and I was going for nothing. And that's what I advise you all to do. Travel for nothing if you can. And I worked there, and like I say, we raised the kids, and I retired early. I said there's no sense in working and just make money. I've got enough money to get along to last me the rest of my life coming in. So I retired just before I was 60 years old, and I'm 101 now, so I've had 41 years of retirement, traveled most of the world, and my darling wife is gone now, but I have my number one daughter and my number one granddaughter here to take good care of me. Now I live with my daughter in Connecticut, and that's what I'm doing these days. Any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, yeah, you might wonder what the hell kind of an outfit I have on. I belong to a National Guard unit in Connecticut, and what we do is funerals with that National Guard unit. And each year we do over 300 funerals with that National Guard unit. And this is the uniform that we usually wear when we go out and carry the rifles and do the discharge and fold the flag and everything, and do final honors. And I hope I never see another one of you like that. Okay? You hang in there. I'm going to 120, so you better hang in there, gang. Okay? Any questions?
Hey, Bob.
Okay, thank
Bob,
you.
You
Yes,
should
sir.
tell them about your cooking show.
Oh, hey, you know about it, huh? Well, that's an interesting fact. I have a cooking show on YouTube. Yeah, and it's a cooking show and a living show. I call it Bob G. Living the Life. And what I'm doing is I'm traveling and doing some cooking and bringing people in and showing them. As a matter of fact, one of my granddaughters has taken some videos, have you, here? And this will be part of one of my shows one day, showing her how we traveled down here to Pennsylvania. And I got into cooking because, remember I was telling him my brother had to come out of high school to go to work. My mother was working. My dad was not well. Well, when I was 12 years old, I said, can I do something to help at home? Because they were working all day, they'd come home and had to cook dinner. So they taught me how to cook. And my first successful cook was meatloaf. And I'm going to make a meatloaf this weekend. So we're going to have a church supper, and I'm going to make up my meatloaf, which is pretty damn good, let me tell you. I've been cooking it for over almost 90 years now, okay? And that's how I learned to cook, and I'm still at it, still enjoy it, have a good time at it. Thank you for asking. Yes, ma'am.
About your 12 children. How did you do that? How did you feed them?
Don't ask him that question. Don't ask him that. How did you raise your kids? How did you feed them, clothe them? It's a lot to take care of 12 kids.
What I heard you say was, how did I do it? And
No.
I said, if you want to come up here, I will demonstrate.
Yes.
No,
Carry on.
I was, there were times, one time there for a while, I decided I wanted to open a restaurant. I opened a restaurant and quit the job I was working where I was getting a nice, good, steady pay. And I tell you, I damn near starved, but we didn't starve. We were working very hard. At one time, I was doing 3 different jobs, okay? And the wife was working and helping and so forth and trying to get along. We struggled sometimes, but finally, when I got settled down and into computers and so forth, I started to make some real good money. I made real good money, and because I was making money for the company, I was getting lots of bonuses. Some years as many as 2 bonuses, thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's how we made it through. But if you want any more information about making children, I'll be glad to see you afterwards. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for inviting me in. As you can see, I'm just a good old bullshit house. Thank you, Bob.
Our president would like you to present a thank you to you real quick, Bob.
Oh.
This is something very special that you get here at the Central PA World War II Roundtable. It's been a tradition for many, many years. So, Chris, Dr. Huffman,
What do we do, George?
you just
Get up?
stay here. He's going to come over to you.
Oh, you gonna throw me something on me?
Thank you, Barb, so much. Bob, I want to give you this world famous World War II Roundtable coffee mug. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight.
Well, thank you.
All the way from Connecticut, thank you so much. Thank you for your service, first and foremost. And we're so happy we have 3 World War II veterans here tonight. So Bob and 2 others, another Bob, I think, in Irv. And we have a lot of, I want to thank all our veterans for being here, actually. And World War II veterans as well. So thanks so much. And also, I'm going to keep it brief here at the end. I want to thank our board members. I want to thank Bev Barb real quick too, because she got a free hotel for Bob as well and his family members who came. Thanks, Bev, as well. Thanks to you all for being here. We'll see you next time for Alan Shapiro. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So, Patty reminded me we have a raffle here tonight, so I'll go ahead and read the winning number real quick before we close. The winning number, 965188. Anybody have 965188? We'll be happy to give you the prize. 965188. Okay, great. Thanks so much. Patty has the prize coming for you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. See you next time.